Hi, I'm Laura, and this is Lalo Yoga and Wellness. Today's practice is going to be an inversion-free practice. All that really means is we'll be keeping our head above our heart throughout, so no forward folds or ragdoll or downward facing dog even. So it's just a great practice to have. Sometimes maybe you've got a headache or sinuses are bothering you, or maybe you're trying to avoid pressure behind the eyes. Whatever it is that you want to get out of it, it's all for you. Let's get started. Get comfortable in whatever seated position you like to be in. Maybe it's cross-legged, maybe you like to be in bound angle. You could be in a staff pose, whatever feels good for you. Just get settled into it. Take a little check through your body and see how you're feeling. Just start to notice and get a little bit more connected to your body. Take a breath or two, just noticing maybe if you're warm or cold, if you're comfortable or not. We're not trying to change it, we're just teaching ourselves to listen to our body. And then we start to tune into the mind, see how our thoughts are going. Maybe you've had a hectic day, maybe you've been fighting traffic or kids. Maybe you've had a nice mellow day. Just kind of notice and pay attention to your thought patterns right now. If it feels good for you, you can keep your eyes open, or if it feels a little bit better, you can let your eyes softly close. It's really up to you. See how you're feeling right now. And we start to check in with our breath, taking some nice, slow breaths and taking a moment to really feel each breath as it comes into the body, energizing you. And then as we breathe out, we're just letting go of any tension, anxiety, stress, whatever's swarming around in your body and in your brain. Making each breath a little bit longer, sitting up a little bit taller. Exhaling out, maybe even longer than the inhale. Just releasing all that negative energy that might be hanging out in there. Let's take one more breath here. Let's add some movement to our breaths. Take a nice deep breath, this time reaching out and up. Maybe we follow the fingers with the eyes. Check in with your neck for a moment. Exhale and let the chin drop. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, reach the hands up. Exhale, this time take your left hand to your right knee, and your right hand comes right behind you and gets a nice long line, kind of like the back of a chair for your back. Take a look over your right shoulder. Inhale, sit a bit taller. Exhale, see if you can deepen that stretch, that twist. We're just loosening up the spine here, so no need to go all the way to your edge. We're just trying to wake it up a little bit. Let's take a deep breath, face front. Exhale and take that twist over to the other side. Again, using your left arm to create kind of like a seat back for your back to lean on. Inhale, sit taller. Exhale, deepening that twist. Let's take one more breath here. Inhale, facing the front, reach the hands high. We're going to bring our feet flat on the floor here and then let the arms come right underneath the legs, lacing your fingers together. And let yourself roll back into that stretch. Pull yourself in toward the thighs, maybe lifting that gaze. Exhale, rounding through that spine. It's just a seated version of cow and cat. Inhale and lift. Exhale, round that spine. Let's take one more inhale and lift. And relax into a neutral position. Let's bring your hands down onto the ground. Knees come right underneath the hips. keeping that head above the heart. If you feel like sometimes this is more pressure than you want for your knees, you can always use a pad or put an extra mat underneath your knees to give them a little bit of softness. You can have the tops of the feet down or tuck the toes under. Sometimes this feels good at the beginning of the practice. Just loosen your feet up a little bit. Let's take a big deep breath here. Again, maybe following those fingertips with our gaze. We're going to keep the gaze up as we bring the hands behind you and just rest on the top of your backside. Lengthen out through the neck. Squeeze those shoulder blades together just a little bit. And maybe take the gaze a little bit higher if possible. Coming into a camel pose. Opening the heart. Focusing on the breath. Sometimes this is a difficult position to breathe in, which is why we like to do it. Take a deep breath one more time. Exhale, level out your gaze. Let's step forward with your left foot. Hands come on top of that left thigh and lean forward just a little bit. We want to maintain alignment of the front knee over the ankle. We're opening up just a bit here in the hip. And then we shift our weight back. Let the head come down, but remember, we're keeping the head above the heart. So maybe you're bringing your fingertips to the mat. Maybe you're using some blocks right here. See if you can keep the back a little bit flatter. And just slowly ease into that kneeling pyramid. And we start to shift the weight forward once again, coming into the low lunge. You can bring the hands up on top of the thigh, maybe lifting that gaze a little bit. Let's take your right hand all the way down to the floor and your left foot all the way out to the side, reaching up through your left hand toward the ceiling, coming into a supported side plank. You might be using a block here. Give yourself a little bit more support. Maybe the gaze is straight ahead or maybe even down toward your hands. Nice breath in. Exhale. Let's bring the knees together underneath the hips. Take that deep breath up. Exhale, bringing the hands right again into that camel pose. Opening up through the chest, maybe the toes are tucked under. You may even start reaching for the heels, if that's feeling okay for you right now. Let's take one more breath. As you exhale, level out the gaze, stepping forward on the right foot. Hands come on top of that right thigh and just lean into it again. Maintain the alignment of the knee over the ankle. Just don't want to overstress our knees, especially as we're just getting a little bit looser. And then we shift our weight back, maybe to the floor, maybe to blocks with the hands, keeping the upper back long and strong. One more breath. We begin to shift our weight forward once again, coming into that low lunge. Let's reach the left hand down to the floor, stretch out through the right leg and the right arm up toward the ceiling. So you might be here on your palm, maybe on your knuckles, maybe on a block. Maybe you're looking straight up, straight ahead, or perhaps right down to that hand. I'm going to feel your ribs opening up just a bit here. Maybe pull the shoulder open a slight bit more. One more breath. And we begin to bring the knee back underneath the hip. Let's take that deep breath up. Exhale, camel pose one more time. Either here on the top of the backside or reaching for the heels, you decide. And level out your gaze. Let's step forward with the right foot. Tuck your toes under on the left. We're going to step forward with some space between our feet. So we've got maybe 10 to 12 inches between the feet, and we begin to reach the arms high and come into chair pose. Take a quick look down, make sure you can see your toes right now. If you can't quite see the toes, maybe stand a little taller or see if you can shift your weight back slightly. Take one big breath, reach high, reach, 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 reach. Exhale, lengthen out the whole body, coming into a mountain pose. Really feel yourself being grounded. The base of the big toe, the pinky toe, and the heel. Hips are just pushing forward gently so that we're unloading the low back. Your core is nice and strong. We lift up through the chest. Gaze strong to the front. Take a deep breath, reach out and up. Exhale, reach your right hand back, left hand forward, and we're going to take a look over those right fingertips for a standing twist, working your hips toward the front. Inhale, sweep the right hand down, face front, pick up the left hand. We're just going to cactus these arms, open up the chest, a little easy upper back bend. Inhale, reach. Let's take that twist over to the other side. Still working those hips toward the front. Always working toward in yoga. Inhale, sweep the left hand down, face front, pick up that right hand. Exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale and reach. Lace the fingers together with your pointer and your thumb pointing up. Reach out to the side. Think about pulling your ribs up and away from your hips. Inhale, come up to standing. Exhale, take it out to the other side. Inhale up to standing. Exhale. Give yourself a little shake if you need to, if you're feeling a little bit tight. I'm a wiggler, so I'm always wiggling. Let's move into our standing sequence here. Inhale, lifting your left leg high, coming into a standing staff pose. So maybe you're staying here, maybe your hand is on the knee, maybe you're extending the leg, maybe you're wrapping your fingers around those toes and extending the leg. You decide where you want to go with that staff pose. It's okay if you feel a little wobbly in it. Inhale, reach the hands high. Exhale, begin to push the leg behind you. Hinging through the hips, we're going to reach forward to come into our warrior three. Focus more on lifting the leg than letting the chest drop too low. Remember, head above the heart. Inhale, reach the hands high. Come back into your standing staff. Hands come to heart center. Cross that left ankle over the right knee and slowly begin to bend the right knee. Standing pigeon. Inhale, stand back up. Release that left leg. Take a big step back. Back heel is off the ground. Let's reach the hands high as we scoop the hip forward to come into a crescent lunge. Let's just pause here for a moment and find our base. Nice deep breath. We're reaching tall through the fingertips. Front knee is bent, back heel off the ground. Inhale, reach through the fingertips. Exhale, pivot the back foot until it's parallel to the long edge or the short edge of the mat. Front heel aligned with your back arch. Hips in the center, shoulders in the center. We reach out long and take our gaze over those front fingertips for warrior two. Let your right knee just sort of drift toward that pinky toe. Open the hips, play with it a little bit. We're all a little bit different in our bodies. Find what works for you. Inhale, reaching both hands high, coming into five-pointed star. Toes are out, heels are in. Exhale, drop straight down, keeping that chest lifted for a prayer squat. Inhale and reach. Exhale, shift your weight toward the back of the mat, straightening out the back foot, coming into a nice high lunge. Inner thigh opening up. Nice breath here. Let yourself sink into it. It takes about 20 seconds for your body to let go of those muscles that are holding you in position so that you can sink a little bit more and start to increase flexibility. Let's come to the center and then shift our weight to the front. Let yourself sink into it. Control your breath. Inhale, coming to the center. Toes out, heels in. You might want to come a little bit closer with those hands, and we start to lower down to come into a malasana squat. You have a couple of options here. You can have your hands out in front. You might be sitting on a block to give you a little bit more support. Your goal is to eventually get your heels down to the floor, but if you're still up on your toes, that's okay. You can also bring your hands off the floor to challenge your balance, one hand on each elbow, or even bring the palms together at heart center to help gently push those knees just a little bit wider. Give yourself a little deeper of a hip opener. Then we're going to put those fingertips on the floor if you have them lifted up. Start to lift up, keeping that head above the heart. Come back to your 5-pointed star. Exhale, warrior 2. Turn that front toe out. Back foot is parallel. Inhale, sweep the back arm down. Face front, picking up the heel, pivot to the front, find your crescent lunge, stepping into chair. Exhale, mountain. Take a breath. Maybe roll the shoulders, or if you got the wiggles, wiggle it out. Let's take it onto the other side now. Shift your weight into the left leg. Let's lift up the right knee, coming into staff. Again, maybe you're extending the leg, maybe your hands are on the knee, wherever you want to go with it. You might be extending that leg. Let's take the arms up overhead. And then we begin to hinge forward and slowly press that right leg back behind us, reaching forward to come into warrior 3. You might find you're a little more wobbly on one side than the other. That's pretty normal. Focus on lifting that leg, keeping the hips square to the floor. And then begin to return to your staff pose. Hands come to heart center. Cross your right ankle over the left knee, slowly sitting down for your standing pigeon. Take a breath. And begin to stand. Coming back to staff through the right leg. Big step back, heels up, hip tucks forward, reach high, crescent lunge. Pause here for a moment, let yourself sink into it. Making sure our front knee is, again, over the ankle. Don't want to overextend our knees. Back heel off the ground. Inhale, 5-pointed star. We're now reaching up high, toes out, heels in. Prayer squat, bring the hands to the chest, keep the chest tall. Come down into that squat. Inhale and reach. Bend your front knee, push off, starfish on one side. Bend the right knee, standing. Let's bend the other knee, the other knee, and lift into that starfish. Set the foot down, 5-pointed star, coming down into your malasana squat. Again, you might need to come in a little closer. It really depends on how long your legs are. I have short legs, so I need to bring them in close. Same options as before. Maybe your fingertips are on the floor or a block. Maybe you're sitting on a block. Hands might be at the elbows or at heart center. Take a breath. Let the fingertips come down to the floor. Just for some support, inhale, come right back up into your 5-pointed star. Toes out, heels in. Exhale, warrior 2, facing the front. Just a breath here. Inhale, sweep the right hand down and up. Face the front, coming into your crescent lunge. Bend that Back legs, step together, chair pose. Exhale into mountain. Breathe. Inhale, lifting into chair. Step back on your right foot and drop the right knee. Left knee comes under those hips. Exhale, find your camel. You're a little warmer now, so perhaps you're reaching for those heels with the tops of the feet down or the toes tucked, or perhaps you're right here. You just decide where you want to be. Deep breath in, exhale, level out your gaze. Flip your feet out to the left. Sit down, hands come to the right. And swing your legs around toward the top of the mat. Heels down, toes up, coming into boat pose. So we have a few options here. The first thing that you want to do is make sure your body is creating that level or letter V and your chest is lifted. Spine is nice and long. Hands might be here on the legs for a little support, or maybe off the legs. Maybe the legs are lifting, but notice that we still have that strong letter V. Chest is still lifted. Maybe the arms are up, maybe the legs are extended. You decide where you want to be, and let's hold this position for 10, 9, 8, 7, keep the chest lifted, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wherever you are, return to the boat pose with the heels down, hands on the sides of the legs. Take a deep breath, sit a bit taller. Exhale, sweep your left hand back, look toward that hand. Inhale, come back up, right hand. Sweeping back and then coming back toward the knees. Keep going at your own pace for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Start to tuck your chin, roll all the way down to your mat. You might need to adjust your position on the mat. Keeping the feet flat on the floor, a little bit of space between your knees. Reach your hands out till they're hovering over the floor. Now tuck your chin and lift your shoulder blades off the floor. You're gazing right over the top of your knees. And we're gonna tap our left rib to the top of the hip, reaching for the left ankle. Come to the center and move that to the other side and come to the center. If it's feeling like it's a little bit too much pressure in the neck, you can always bring your fingertips to give your head a little bit of support. We're not pulling on the head. We're just moving side to side as if we're tapping that bottom rib to the top of the hip. Go at your own pace, alternating sides. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come to the center and slowly roll all the way down. Let's bring both knees right into the chest, hands on top of the knees. Gentle rock side to side. And we start to draw a circle with the knees, pausing on any spots that feel a little bit tight maybe or sore. Let's take that circle the other way. Then we return to the center. Take your arms out wide like the letter T and let your knees drop to the right. You may want to scoop your hips just a little bit to the left side. We want to maintain both shoulder blades on the floor. If you want to deepen that stretch, maybe pull your left knee a little bit closer to your chest. If you want a little bit more twist, you can take your gaze over your left fingertips. Slowing down your breath. If your head is turned, let's bring it back to neutral. If you pulled the left knee closer to the chest, bring it side to by side with the other knee. Come to the center, reset your hips, and let's bring both knees toward the chest, dropping to the left. Maybe scooting those hips just a little bit toward the right. Maybe pulling the right knee a bit closer. And maybe adding that extra twist by turning your head. And if the head is turned, bring it back to neutral. If your right knee is pulling toward the chest, bring it side by side with the left. And let's bring both knees up to the center. Reset the hips. And take your feet wide to the edges of the mat and let your knees just fall together. Arms come a little bit closer, just let them fall wherever they feel comfortable. So we move into restorative pose. Feel free to stay here throughout Shavasana. Sometimes this feels more comfortable for your lower back. Of course, your option is to stretch the legs out. Just let the feet flop out to the side. If it feels good, you can close your eyes and begin checking back in with your body. Softening any tension through the scalp into your forehead, all those little muscles around your eyes, smoothing out your face and your neck, softening into your jaw, your throat. Moving all the way into your shoulders, through the arms, elbows, and wrists, letting the arms relax. You can feel the beating of your heart slowing down. That slow rise and fall of your belly. And we start to relax right down into the hips, the legs, knees, ankles, right down to the toes. Take a moment to just honor yourself and enjoy the luxury of slowing down. You can stay here in your Shavasana for as long as you would like. Whenever you feel ready, you can begin to move yourself into a seated position. Just letting your chin drop toward your chest, lengthening out your spine. And pull the chin a little bit closer to the chest. Take a look over your left shoulder. Slide the chin back down to the chest. Pull the chin in just a little bit. Look over your right shoulder. Sliding the chin down to the chest one more time. If If your eyes are closed, you can start to blink them open. Let's take one big deep breath together, reaching out and up. Hands coming to heart center. May you have peace in your thoughts, kindness in your words, and hope in your hearts. From my heart to yours. Namaste. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe so I can continue to bring